Seems like Australia's trying to set some trends, and this one might not be a bad one. It's really hard to say because honestly, when it comes to social media, it's hard to say what's good and what's bad, especially when it leads to something being banned. But Australia's taking that huge leap of faith. What's going on YouTube? It's your host Bruce GNT, and we're here to talk about Australia doing a social media ban for children under the age of 16, and seemingly there's some mixed results. Along with that, other countries are kind of looking at this and using Australia as a test subject to go, you know what, if this works over here, they might start implementing it soon in other places, namely the UK and the US. So let's jump right in.
It is a big day across households in Australia. We begin with the seismic shift for Australia's youth today as the long-awaited social media ban officially begins. Millions of teens now cut off from their favourite platforms, including YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and Snapchat.
We have team coverage on this world first initiative at home and overseas. Let's go first live to Andrea Crothers. Andrea, talk us through the ban.
Well, guys, this in theory should be a dramatic digital shutdown aimed at protecting our Aussie kids. As you said, overnight, kids under 16, they had the plug pulled on their favourite platforms. That includes Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, Reddit, Snapchat as well. Now, there's no penalty for parents or kids who do find a workaround, but for the tech giants, well, they could face fines up to $49.5 million if they don't comply. So now comes the big question, will it work? Well, a new Resolve poll by 9 newspapers shows that while most parents agree with the policy, only 35% think it will actually work. Less than a third plan on fully enforcing it at home.
All right, thanks for that, Andrea.
The ban, being a world first, is drawing plenty of reaction from overseas.
Live from London, this is BBC News. Millions of children and teenagers are now blocked from social media in Australia.
Take a look at this. This is a social media post by Reuters. Australia is set to become the first country to implement a minimum age for social media use.
Well, let's go live now to US correspondent Jonathan Kersley in the nation, home to so many tech giants. I mean, Jono, this rollout is going to be watched very closely there.
So before he jumps too far into it, right? I'm mixed, right? And this reminds me of a situation where I was talking with a good friend of mine. We were talking about kids and social media and then what they're allowed to see, what they're not allowed to see. And I'll delve into that a little bit later in the video. The reason I'm mixed is because part of me is like, okay, this is not a bad idea. Children younger and younger are getting on social media and they're going into the dark parts of social media they had no business being on. In my personal opinion, content that shouldn't even be on social media. Too often, when I'm even on YouTube, right? Where I come across some shit on YouTube, I'm just like, wait a minute. It's like some AI video promoting something that's obviously sexual. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, okay, this is a little bit weird. Same thing for Reddit. It's not that hard to get access to that. Same thing for X. Not that hard to get access to that. Same thing for Snapchat. There's so many different, like, you know, TikTok especially. You could type in the wrong shit in TikTok and you could find your way into stuff that children should not be seeing. So that's the side of me that's for that. The side of me that's not for is because where does the line get drawn when it comes to our government regulating who and when people can see certain things? Who and when people can use certain technologies like social media, right? Because it starts with the 16-year-olds or 16 and below. Who's to say it's going to stop at another point? When is it going to become a situation where our government says, you know what, we don't want our people seeing this, right? How would that infringe on our rights and our ability to have freedom? You know what I'm saying? If that makes sense.
Very closely here and right around the world. As you mentioned, the United States home to so many tech giants and so many of them pushed back initially against this ban. But today it is coming into effect, being watched by governments here in the United States, but in Europe as well, and attracting plenty of attention. News organisations, the New York Times, CNN, Fox News, all covering this plenty today. So too the BBC, Al Jazeera as well. It's not just news organisations and commentators weighing in online. It is governments watching to see the impact and the effect of this world-first ban. We've been talking to some people out here on the streets of Los Angeles, and it's fair to say at the moment, reaction's mixed. I think it's a good idea that young people shouldn't have social media.
That's extreme. Parents ought to have more control.
And there is at least one senior figure here in the United States, Rahm Emanuel, a man touted as a possible Democratic runner for the presidential election in 2028, who today says the United States should have this ban. The United States not looking at it at the moment, but there are other countries around the world examining Australia's move to see if likewise they need to go there too.
Thanks, Jono. Let's now go to today tech expert Trevor Long. Trev, how have the platforms rolled this ban out?
Morning, Chris. Yeah, the Snapchat, Instagram, they started this process a couple of weeks ago, but as of midnight, kids across Australia are now seeing notifications within their apps telling them that they've been detected as being under 16. Now, what that means is the kids, despite their age that they've listed in the account, the platforms think they're under 16. And now they need to either delete their accounts, store their data, or verify that they are in fact over 16. We've seen some kids work out how to prove that they're over 16 using a facial scan. We've seen kids over 16 be deemed to be under 16 using the face scan. So there's a little bit of trepidation among both teens.
That's the part I'm kind of worried about, where it's like, I feel like they're trying to take our data to verify who we are, like face scan IDs and everything like that. And to me, that's my privacy. You know what I'm saying? That seems like a little bit much. And it might be ironic since I'm putting myself out there on YouTube, but follow me on this one, right? Like I said earlier, when does it stop? When does it become an issue of, oh, hey, look, we're going to roll this out because we're trying to protect the people. Oh, you know what? Hey, we're going to limit this because we don't really need you, consuming this type of content. You know what? Hey, look, we know we said it was going to stop right here, but we're going to move a little bit further because we've seen this and deemed this to be dangerous for you. That's the part that I'm kind of worried about. You know what I'm saying? A slippery slope. Once you start sliding down and you don't find a way to stop yourself, you get down to the bottom and you're like, oh shit, how did we get here? Stuff like this. That's how it starts. I know some of these tech giants are kicking and screaming right now because they lost, like, I would have to say, millions of users right there. Like, that must have really hurt them bottom line. I wonder what that would do to my numbers too. I don't do great numbers, as you can probably see, but I do get some people from Australia that do watch me. Based off their ages, like was reported by the site on YouTube, it doesn't seem like too many people that are young, but you never know. It's deeming some people that are above the age of 16 as being below 16. How does that work? Is it looking at your data? Is it looking at what you're looking at? Is it looking at your face? Like, how does that work? And do we want all these companies and or governments to have that much control over what we watch and how we watch it? That's just my thing, right? But it brings me back to a conversation I had with a friend of mine where we were talking about, hey, look, is incumbent on the parents to monitor their children and make sure that they're not doing things they're not supposed to be doing. And I agree with that statement that he said. Truly, I do. My issue with it is that two things. One, you have to remember that not every parent is going to be like you and really care about what their child is doing. They have some parents out there that treat their kids like baby kids and just throw them out into the wild. They don't give a damn what they do, how they do it, or where they go. And we see that every single day. And what leads into that problem is that we have a lot of followers. So you have kids that are not being monitored because their parents don't give a damn, and then they have other people following them because children tend to be more often followers. You know what I'm saying? Not to say I fully disagree with him. We have to remember that what you do in your household stands as long as you stay within your household. When you send your children out, whether it's for school, activities, or whatever have you, they're going to interact with these kids that have no parenting, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, I understand the ban and I'm kind of for it to a certain extent. I just don't want the repercussions in the sense of how this could spiral out of control. That's my main problem.
And the platforms, in fact, streaming platform Kick, as of this morning, still hasn't implemented the ban. So a little bit of work to do across the platforms, but teens this morning waking up to a whole new social world with no content.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting day for so many, Trev. Thank you. And for more on the ban, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese.
Yeah, like I had just said, I see the purpose for it. Do I think it could be used and abused by, companies and or the government? Most definitely I could see that. I could definitely see that. But the intention is not a bad intention, because I'm telling you, me myself, when I'm just scrolling through YouTube, TikTok, I come across some shit where I'm just like, how am I just able to see this? You'd be surprised. So I understand the concept and the intention. I just don't want this to spiral out of control. That's my main issue. Well, you guys already know the drill. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, leave a like. Comment down below. Tell me your thoughts. Are you for this ban in Australia? And if you are in Australia and you're a parent or you're someone that's an adult and everything like that, how do you feel about that? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you're in the US or any other country and or state, how you feel about this? Do you think this is something that we should implement, or do you feel like that's going a little bit too far? Let me know down in the comments below. That's it for now. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.